Father's journey can never be easy. I sit in my old chair every day. The room is quiet, but my mind is full of memories. My son Tom is different. He has autism. Life with Tom was never easy, but it was full of love and lessons. Many years ago, when Tom was a baby, he did not smile much. He liked to sit alone and play with one toy for hours. I worried about him, but I did not know why. Other parents talked about their baby's first words or first steps. I stayed silent and listened, wondering if Tom would ever be the same. As he grew, I saw the signs. He did not talk like other children. He did not look at me when I called his name. Sometimes he cried for hours, and I could not understand why. The doctor told us Tom has autism. I did not know what that meant, but I promised to learn and help him, no matter how hard it was. We learned slowly. Tom needed special care and attention. He had his own world, and I wanted to understand it. Some days were good, filled with his small victories. Some days were hard, filled with tears and frustration, but I loved him more than anything. At school, Tom struggled. Other kids did not understand him. They laughed or stayed away. My heart broke when I saw him sitting alone in the playground. I tried to teach him to make friends, but it was hard for him. Still, Tom found joy in small things, like watching the rain, playing with his toy cars, or drawing shapes on paper. At home, I became his teacher, his protector, and his friend. I helped him learn words, colors, and shapes. Each small step felt like a big victory. His smile was my reward. When he hugged me, I felt like the luckiest man alive. Life with Tom was not easy, but it was full of meaning. I learned patience, kindness, and strength from him. Together, we created a world where love and hope were enough. When Tom turned 10, things became harder. He needed more help in school, but the teachers did not know how to support him. I had to fight for him. I went to meetings, talked to doctors, and asked for special programs. It was tiring, but I could not give up. One day his teacher said, "Tom cannot stay here. He needs a special school." My heart sank. I wanted him to stay, to be like other kids, but I knew she was right. We found a school that understood Tom. It was far from home and it cost a lot, but I wanted the best for him. Every morning I drove him to the new school. The drive was quiet. Tom liked to look out the window. Sometimes he pointed to trees or birds. "Look, Dad," he said softly. His words were few, but they were precious. At the new school, Tom met other children like him. He was not alone anymore. He made small friends. They played together, shared toys, and laughed in their own way. I felt hope again. Maybe he could have a happy life. But life was still hard. Tom had days when he cried and could not tell me why. He had moments of anger, throwing things, or hiding in a corner. I stayed close, holding him until he calmed down. "I am here, Tom," I always said. My wife, Emily, was my rock. She loved Tom with all her heart. She stayed up late, reading books about autism, looking for ways to help him. She gave me strength when I felt weak. Together we built a safe, loving home for Tom. Years passed, and I saw small changes in Tom. He could say more words, follow simple tasks, and even smile more often. I knew he would always need help, but I also knew he was strong in his own way. My son taught me that love is not about perfection. It is about being there, no matter what. When Tom became a teenager, new challenges began. He grew taller and stronger, but his mind was still like a child's. Sometimes he did not understand his own strength. One day he pushed another boy at school. The teachers called me. I rushed to the school, worried and scared. The teacher said, "Tom got upset because the boy took his pencil." I explained to them that Tom did not mean to hurt anyone. He just didn't know how to handle his feelings. I apologized, but I also felt sad. My son was misunderstood again. At home, I talked to Tom. "You cannot push people, Tom," I said softly. He looked at me with his big, sad eyes. "Sorry, Dad," he whispered. My heart ached. He didn't want to hurt anyone, but he didn't know how to explain his emotions. As the years went by, Emily and I worked harder to prepare Tom for the world. We taught him how to dress himself, how to cook simple meals, and how to ask for help. Each small step felt like a big victory, but there were still bad days. Sometimes Tom would sit alone in his room for hours, staring at the wall. Other times, he would get upset over small things like a missing sock or a broken toy. I stayed patient. I knew he needed time and love to feel better. Emily and I also had to think about the future. "What will happen to Tom when we are gone?" Emily asked one night. Her voice was full of worry. I didn't have an answer. We started looking for programs and homes where Tom could live safely one day. It was a hard decision, but we wanted to plan for everything. Through it all, Tom taught me many lessons. He showed me the power of patience, the meaning of true love, and the value of small victories. Even on the hardest days, he gave me a reason to keep going. Tom grew older, and his world became more complicated. When he turned 16, people started expecting him to act like an adult. But Tom's mind didn't grow like his body. Strangers didn't understand. They would stare or whisper, and some even laughed. Those moments hurt me deeply. One day, we went to a park. Tom loved the swings, and he laughed like a child when he swung high. A group of teenagers nearby started pointing and giggling. Tom didn't notice, but I did. My face turned red with anger and sadness. I walked up to the group and said, "He's just enjoying himself. Let him be." The teenagers looked embarrassed and walked away. I returned to Tom, who was still smiling on the swing. I realized then that his happiness mattered more than the opinions of others. At home, Emily and I tried to prepare Tom for adulthood. We taught him to use public transport and handle money. "This is $1, Tom. You can use it to buy a snack," I explained, showing him how to count coins. He struggled at first, but with practice, he got better. One day, Tom surprised me. He walked into the house holding a loaf of bread and said, "I bought this for dinner," my eyes filled with tears. It was just bread, but it was also proof that Tom was learning and growing. However, as Emily and I got older, taking care of Tom became harder. I developed back pain, and Emily often felt tired. "We need help," she said one evening. It broke my heart, but I knew she was right. We started searching for a day center where Tom could spend time with others like him. Tom didn't like the idea at first. "I want to stay home," he said, his voice shaky. "It's just for a few hours each day," I told him gently. I promised him that we would always be there when he returned. Slowly, he agreed. At the center, Tom made new friends. He painted pictures, played games, and even learned new skills. When he came home each day, he was tired but happy. I felt a mix of relief and pride. My son was finding his place in the world, little by little. As the years passed, Emily's health began to fade. She could no longer join us on our walks or help Tom with his daily tasks. She spent most of her days resting in bed. Tom didn't fully understand why his mother was so weak. "Why can't Mom come outside?" he asked one day. I didn't know how to explain it to him. I tried to manage everything, cooking, cleaning, and taking care of both Tom and Emily. Some nights I stayed awake, worrying about the future. "What will happen to Tom when we're gone?" I often whispered to myself. The thought haunted me. One evening, as I was preparing dinner, Tom came to the kitchen with a drawing. "This is for Mom," he said, handing me a picture of a bright sun and a smiling woman. "She'll feel better when she sees this." I took the picture to Emily, and for the first time in weeks, she smiled. Tom's kindness gave me strength. Despite his challenges, he always found ways to bring joy to others. One day at the day center, he helped a younger boy who was scared of a puzzle. "Like this," Tom said, showing him how to fit the pieces together. The staff told me about it, and my chest swelled with pride. But life didn't get easier. Emily's condition worsened, and one quiet morning, she passed away in her sleep. I sat beside her, holding her hand, unable to find the words to tell Tom. When he woke up, he asked, "Where's Mom?" I hugged him tightly and said, "She's with the angels now." Tom cried for days. "I miss her," he said over and over. I missed her too, more than words could say. But I knew I had to stay strong for him. I kept our routines the same, taking him to the day center and preparing his favorite meals. Slowly, life moved forward. One afternoon, Tom surprised me again. He came home with a small plant in a pot. "This is for Mom," he said. "We can take care of it together." We placed the plant on the windowsill where the sunlight could reach it. Taking care of that little plant became our way of remembering Emily. Every day, Tom watered it and said, "This is for you, Mom." And every day I felt a mix of sadness and hope. Life without Emily was hard, but together Tom and I found small ways to keep going. The years continued to pass, and Tom grew older. His understanding of the world expanded, though his challenges remained. I watched him with pride as he learned new skills at the day center. He loved helping others, especially younger children who struggled like he once did. "You're doing great," he would say, patting them on the back. But life without Emily was a constant reminder of our loss. The house felt empty, and nights were the hardest. I often sat by the window looking at the stars and thinking of her. "Are you watching over us?" I would whisper into the quiet night, hoping she could hear me. Tom's plant grew into a beautiful green bush, a symbol of our resilience. Every morning, Tom would water it and say, "Good morning, Mom." It became a ritual that brought comfort to both of us. Whenever I felt overwhelmed, I would sit by the plant and feel Emily's presence. One day, Tom surprised me again. "Dad, I want to do something special," he said. He had decided to bake cookies for the neighbors. Together, we spent the afternoon mixing ingredients and shaping the dough. The kitchen was filled with laughter and the sweet smell of baking. When we delivered the cookies, the neighbors were delighted. "Thank you, Tom," they said. His face lit up with joy. That day, I realized how much he had grown. Despite his challenges, he had a big heart and a deep desire to connect with others. But as I grew older, I worried more about the future. My strength wasn't the same, and some days were harder than others. What will happen to Tom when I'm gone? I often thought. I started reaching out to local support groups and planning for a time when I could no longer care for him. One evening, Tom brought me another drawing. This time, it was of our family. Emily, Tom, and me, standing together under a bright sun. "We're happy," he said. Tears welled up in my eyes as I hugged him. I realized that despite everything, Tom's world was full of love and hope. He taught me to see life through his eyes, where small joys mattered most. Together, we continued our journey, finding strength in each other and in the memories of Emily. As I sit here now, writing these words, Tom is beside me, humming a song he learned at the day center. The plant he gave Emily is still thriving, just like us. Life hasn't been easy, but it has been meaningful, and for that, I am grateful. I hope this session was helpful. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting stories. Take care, everyone.